Hey everybody, my name is Omar. Welcome to the channel. Today's video, I'm going to talk about how to become an airline pilot. So guys, if you haven't figured out by now, becoming an airline pilot is super in demand right now. There's a huge shortage of pilots. Income levels for pilots have dramatically risen. And today I'm going to walk you through what are the steps to becoming an airline pilot. So the first step is you have to get your private pilot's license. In order to do that, you have to do some research, find a school that's a good fit for you, start taking training for your private pilot's license at a flight school. A lot of flight schools now have accelerated airline programs where they compact all of the training in a short period of time. Like at our school, OC Flight Lessons in Orange County, we compact the training into 7 months and we get you all your ratings done. It's a full-time program and it's a fixed price. After you get your private pilot's license, you're gonna wanna get your instrument rating. That lets you fly an airplane by reference to instruments. You might be asking, what does that mean by flying an airplane by reference to instruments? It means that you are not looking outside the windows. You're strictly flying the airplane based off of reading what the instruments are telling you. If you're doing that, you're more than likely flying in a cloud and you can't tell what's up and what's down. So you're gonna be looking at instruments. That's an entire rating on top of your private pilot's license. So that gives you the ability to legally fly through a cloud. Your third license is going to be your commercial pilot's license. You need to have at least 250 hours of flight time to qualify to take the test for your commercial license. Now keep in mind, most people take their commercial pilot's license in single engine aircraft first. So that's an airplane category, class, and type. So you're getting in an airplane, single engine land versus, let's say, airplane multi-engine land. That would be as if you got your license in a multi-engine aircraft, such as a Piper Seminole or like a Citation 500 or something. Those are airplanes with more than one engine. Another option is getting a airplane single engine C rating. So that's an airplane that can land on water and take off on water. That's a whole different rating. So most people get their airplane single engine land ratings first, and that's your typical Cessna 172, Piper Warrior, the low wings, the high wings, that kind of stuff, what we train on here at the school. That's your first step. After you get your airplane single engine land as a private pilot, then your instrument rating, then your commercial license, you now should have about 250 hours of flight time. Now, if you're trying to be an airline pilot, you'll quickly find out airlines won't hire you until you get to 1,500 hours of flight time. Your question is, well, how do I get from 250 to 1,500? Some people will rent an airplane. That is incredibly expensive to do, guys. It's about $200 an hour to rent an aircraft. In some parts of the country, you might get it for 150 bucks an hour. If you do the math, you're talking about 6 figures to get you from 250 to 1,500 hours. It's not feasible. What most people do after they get their commercial license is they get their certified flight instructor license to become flight instructors, and they work as a flight instructor at a flight school, and they build up hours teaching other people how to fly. Now, there's a lot of people who have a lot of questions about this. Do you get paid for this? Yes, you do get paid. You are a pilot as a flight instructor teaching other people to fly. It's a job, it's a career. I wouldn't say it's a career, it's a stepping stone job. It always has been. You might ask why? Because it doesn't pay enough money for you to survive on your own for it to be a career. You're asking, why doesn't it pay enough money? Because this is how I learned to fly 20 years ago. I squeezed all this into this. Flight Academy Online makes it easy to understand complicated concepts. From our in-depth explanations to our state-of-the-art 3D graphics, Flight Academy Online is easy to understand from all your devices at any time, from anywhere. Having been a flight instructor for the past 20 years, Flight Academy Online revolutionizes the learning process. Simplify your training and sign up today. There's a lucrative job waiting for most pilots at the airlines or a corporate world, and it's incredibly hard for a flight instructor to survive off of what flight instructors make. The most flight instructors make is, I've seen $45,000, $50,000, $55,000, and that's in areas in the middle of nowhere, in the desert, where there's a flight school and there's nothing else around, and they have to pay flight instructors more money to attract them out there, and there's a low cost of living. When you're in our area, Southern California, and flight instructors are coming and going rapidly, they only stay for about a year, and then they go to the airlines. Most of the schools can't afford to train them every year, day in and day out. It's very expensive to train flight instructors, so the pay is low. Some places pay as low as $20,000 a year. They don't pay for instructors to teach classroom training. They only pay flight instructors for the time the engine's running. That is something I don't do at my school. I don't like it. I don't tolerate it. I never did it. When I was flight instructing actively for 15 years before I opened my flight school, I wanted to get paid for the time that I was a flight instructor. From the minute the student sits down and I start teaching them until the minute we stop, because you don't go in to get a massage and only pay for the time that they're massaging you. You pay for that block. When you walk in, you introduce yourself, you get into your robe or whatever you do, you sit down. That all counts toward that time. So when I was a flight instructor, I wanted to get paid so I could put food on the table, and that's my time. When I opened a flight school, I made sure my flight instructors would get paid appropriately for when they're teaching students. And once you're a student and you transition to a flight instructor, you will, trust me, you will appreciate that. You will appreciate getting paid for the time you're spent working for somebody and teaching them. One thing to consider is it doesn't last forever. It sucks. It's low pay, it's long hours, but it's fun, guys. You should be having fun flight instructing. You make great friends. You learn so much about aviation. You're constantly having students trying to kill you on a daily basis, making mistakes, and you become hyper aware of your surroundings, and you become really a polished pilot, in my opinion. So flight instructor is the next step in that order. Be prepared, because it doesn't pay a lot, but it only lasts a year, because when your year is up, if you're flying 80, 90 hours a month, you get to 1,500 hours shortly after a year, the airlines will hire you. They're desperate for pilots. We have instructors at my school that flight instructed for about a year, went to a regional airline, lasted 6 months. They're now at Delta, they're now at Southwest, they're now at United, they're all over the place. So it won't last long, guys. That's the good news. If you're a flight instructor and you get your 1,500 hours, that's pretty much it. That's the end of the road. The one last rating that you're gonna have to get is your multi-engine rating. Now here's the thing. I see people getting their multi-engine ratings right after their commercial license. And I always advise against this. Now, let me explain. Let me tell you why. Your goal is to get to 1,500 hours. What is the quickest way you can get to 1,500 hours? Well, you get your flight instructor license and you start earning your way to that 1,500 hour mark. Okay, great. While you're earning your way to that 1,500 hour mark, go get your multi-engine license on the side in your spare time on your days off. That way, while you're training for the multi-engine, while you're waiting for a check ride and you're doing your stuff, that doesn't interfere with you getting to 1,500 hours. You're progressing towards that number. If you don't get your flight instructor license after your commercial and you first get your multi-engine, if you start training and it takes you a month and the flight school you're at all of a sudden says, hey, we're gonna take the multi-engine down for a couple of months because the engine's getting overhauled, you just got delayed 2 months and you have to start your training over again. I know that sucks, but that's how the world works. The other thing is, what if you get an examiner and he says, my check rides are 2 months out. Now you gotta wait another 2 months, and this multi-engine rating that was supposed to take you a month is now taking you 5 to 6 months. In that time, you could have been flight instructing and actively building towards your 1,500 hours. I encourage you to take my advice, get your CFI rating first, start flight instructing at a good school that's busy, then worry about your multi-engine license, guys. If you're at a school that's busy and you're flying 80, 90 hours a month, you won't be a flight instructor for more than about 14, 15 months. And that's it, guys. That will get you the quickest way to being an airline pilot. That'll get your foot in the door. That'll get you to a regional airline. And once you get there, you'll pretty much know what to do and how to get yourself to a major airline after that. It won't be too hard. They're desperate for pilots right now. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please click the like button, subscribe to my channel. It really helps the channel out. I appreciate your support and hope to see you on the next video. Thank you so much.